It is the 21st of May. Thank you so much for joining us on News Now, where we tell you all the stories that are hitting headlines right now, and it starts now with the highlights.
The highlights. The Kenya Universities and Colleges Placement Service releases universities and TVET placement results for learners who sat KCSE in 2023. Also, Ruto witnesses signing of MOUs with US to improve Kenya's healthcare. And Maasai elders pledge to honor one man, one vote, 1 shilling policy amid Mount Kenya's matrix.
Welcome once again to this live broadcast. My name is Hibak Said. To start us off, the Chief Executive Officer of KUSPS, Mercy Wahome, has announced that 72% of students have secured positions to pursue a bachelor's degree this year with CAS Fred Ndambuki, a representative from the Ministry of Education, indicating that 11,991 students chose diploma courses over bachelor's degrees. They made these remarks during the launch of the KUSPS placement report for universities, and applications were submitted between February 7th of this year and completed by March 4th of this year. Now, KUSPS received applications from 899,232 candidates from 1,078,000 slots in universities and other educational institutions, including technical courses. However, stakeholders in the education sector at the event raised concerns about education funding in both intermediate and tertiary institutions for prospective students advancing their studies in August.
Last year, Parliament stopped us from giving scholarships to students who were placed in private universities. However, this does not mean that these students are not funded. These students are funded through loans which are given by Higher Education Loans Board.
The Kenya National Examinations Council, NEC, provided performance data of 895,232 candidates to KUSPS. Of these, 654 are Kenyan citizens who are eligible for placement. An analysis of the data indicates that 201,146, which is about 22.5%, of the students attained a mini grade of C+ and above, hence meeting the minimum requirement for placement to degree programs. The remaining 694,086, which is about 77.5%, attained a mini grades of between C and E, and were eligible for placement to diploma, craft, and artisan programs in TVET institutions.
Now, the autopsy report on David Ndwati, who was allegedly shot in Kirajo, Thika, confirms that he succumbed to excessive bleeding from the gunshot wounds in his chest. Ndwati tragically lost his life during a fracas that erupted in Kirajo, Thika last Friday. The report indicates that Ndwati was shot from behind, with the gunshot causing severe damage to lung veins, leading to the excessive bleeding that proved fatal, while the family finds some closure in the report's findings. They are urging the government to conduct further analysis to identify those responsible for their kin's death and ensure justice is served.
Kulingana na uchunguzi, tumeandika taarifa kutoka kwa mashahidi kadhaa. Tumepata vielelezo kadhaa ambayo tumetuma Nairobi kwa wataalamu wetu, na bado tuna wengine wachache ambao tutaandikia taarifa.
alikuwa ameenda kutetea haki yake huko, anatafuta ile angesaidie na maisha yake, na sasa amemuondoa. Familia yake na bibi yake watakula aje? Ako na watoto wake watakula namna gani? Tuwe Kenya tunataka kama ni hivyo, hatuwezi kubali kila muda tunapoteza wandugu zetu na vijana wetu kiwolela, wakiuliwa na wanasiasa na wawekwe ndani. Tunahitaji hata wakiua wanawekwa ndani.
Leo tumepatana na idara ya polisi na kwa hakika tumeona zile hatua ambazo wamekanyanga katika hii shughuli na katika hili jambo. Watu wangu ambao walikuwa katika lile tukia, kuna maganda kadhaa ya risasi ambayo waliokota, na siku ya leo tumeweza kuipeana kwa idara ya polisi ili uchunguzi uweze kuendelea.
Right, from the capital Nairobi, we go straight to Atlanta, Georgia, where we are connecting with the unfoldings over there. We want to see what exactly is happening there in Atlanta. Let's listen in.
Priorities in the Eastern and Southern Caribbean. Fortifying efforts to stem crime and violence, promoting sustainable development growth programs, addressing food security, and building resilience in natural disasters and climate change. So he has done a lot with very difficult issues. He has served as a senior development advisor for USAID Libya, where he led the mission on advancing economic development, democracy, governance, and stabilization programs. He has also overseen missions in Egypt, Pakistan, Senegal, and Ghana. Mr. White champions partnerships between USAID and the nation's HBCUs, helping the agency inspire purpose-driven engagement to tackle some of the world's most vexing development and humanitarian challenges. Please welcome to the stage USAID Counselor, Mr. Clinton White.
Thank you so much for that introduction, and so very pleased to be here at Spelman today. Good morning, everyone. Your Excellency, President William Ruto, Ambassador Whitman, and our distinguished delegates from the government of Kenya. Good morning to all of the dedicated professionals gathered together from the private sector, as well as the amazing students, faculty, and presidents from universities across the United States and in Kenya. Before I begin, I would like to thank the Digital Transformation with Africa Initiative for sponsoring this morning's breakfast, and Dr. Helena Gale for hosting this exciting event here at Spelman University. It is our pleasure to join you on this beautiful campus. The United States and Kenya have a long history of cooperation in higher education, reaching back all the way to the era of Kenya's independence. In 1959, Kenyan founding father Tom Mboya, at the time only 28 years old, worked tirelessly to rally support for Kenyan students to study in U.S. universities and colleges.
We, of course, have our ears on the ground to bring you the latest from Atlanta, Georgia. But for now, Trade and Investment CS Rebecca Miano has expressed optimism that there is a high likelihood of the renewal of AGOA until 2041. The CS, who is accompanying President William Ruto on his state visit, spoke with George Maringa, and he began by asking her what is in it for Kenya during this trip.
Absolutely. The U.S. tour, the state visit by President William Ruto, of course, brings other members of the delegation, including CS for investment, trade and industry. Of course, remember this state visit includes investment and trade opportunities and deals that Kenya is going to sign with the United States. And who best to have this conversation with than the CS in charge of that docket, who joins me, the Honorable Rebecca Miano. Thank you so much, Waziri, for joining us on TV 47.
Thank you very much.
Indeed. And, you know, one of the things that Kenyans are looking forward to, or, you know, we always hear in these trips, is the deals that are signed or what is in it for Kenya. In a nutshell, if you could just tell us, what exactly is in it for Kenya?
Thank you very much. But even before we go for the deals,
yes,
remember this is the first state visit for an African head of state,
yes,
in the last 2 decades. So it's a big deal. It is significant and strategic to Kenya. It signals the relationship between the US and Kenya, especially even in the trade area.
Yes.
And some of the things we are discussing today, we look forward to some deals with Coca-Cola and other investors.
Yes.
We have some deals in the ICT sector, the fintech. We have Kenyans who have come in here from the private sector, pairing with their counterparts here. We have people who are working on deals on coffee, with tea, other logistics, and we are really excited. We've seen Equity is also partnering with CNN in some projects, and we have quite a lot. In the coming days, we will firm up exactly what we will have signed.
Okay.
Of course, this is the second day, and looking at it yesterday, with the deal that was signed yesterday between CDC, the Center for Disease Control, and our KEMRI, $31 million. That is a good start, and we have quite a lot, and especially in DC.
Okay.
Yes.
Brilliant. Kenya has been a big beneficiary of AGOA, STIP as well.
Yes.
If we could look at, the end of that deal coming, or rather that agreement coming towards the end of 2025, and what the future prospects look like, and what you'll be looking forward to achieve post 2025.
We are very optimistic.
Yes.
The signals we are getting, there is likelihood of renewal of AGOA up to 2041, which is very good not only for Kenya, but also for the rest of Africa. For Kenya, we have done well in textile and apparel, and also macadamia, but that is not enough. We have other 1,600 lines of products we can export to the US. When we get the renewal, we need to maximize on the other opportunities so that we can export more. That's why you see us working on the special economic zones, county aggregation and industrial parks, so that we sort out the production in readiness to have a massive export. Yes.
Kenya, and we heard what President Ruto had to say yesterday, the opening up of markets, and it's what Washington seems to be keen about.
Yes.
In terms of opening up markets and, the value of win-win relations between more developed countries and developing countries, how would you say we have come in terms of gauging the relationship so far? Are we at a place that is better?
Of course, the relations, and you're here in US, you can feel the strong relationship, political, economic, trade, democracy, and we must maximize this relationship so that we enhance our trade, we get more investors, we strengthen capacity building, and what a relationship can bring, a relationship of this nature. So it's up to Kenya. We are up to it, we look forward, and we are learning more.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for speaking to us.
Now, residents of Homa Bay are now facing a dire situation as they endure nearly a month-long water shortage. With taps running dry, locals are left with no choice but to resort to using unclean water from Lake Victoria and other unsafe sources. Speaking at Shauriako Estate in Homa Bay town, Cheryl Omondi said that taps are dry, forcing them to use water from the lake, which sometimes has a bad smell. She pleaded with the government to come to their rescue, as Ruben Onyango, another resident, reminded the current government of the promise they made to the public during campaigns to end water shortage in the region. On his side, the Homawasco managing director Tom Nyonje confirmed that they had a hiccup with Kenya Power and promised to address the issue fully within 2 to 3 days.
Hatuna maji, tunatumia na maji mbaya kabisa, hatupati maji ya freji, tena maji yenye inatoka barini ni inanuka. Sasa tunaomba serikali atusaidie na maji safi. Mpaka sasa hii hatujasikia mambo ya maji chenye ilifanyika, tunasikia stima ilikatwa, sijui mambo nyingi kabisa. Sasa tunaomba serikali atusaidie na stima iletwe tupate maji safi. Ndio tunaomba sasa hii.
Kusema kweli hizi ni channels za solar. Tuliambiwa hii government wakiingia vizuri hapa hakutakuwa na ukosefu ya maji. Sasa sisi tukapa karibu, tukapa kando ya ziwa, bado tunakosa maji ya kunywa. Na walituambia vizuri wakiingia hapo hivyo hakutakuwa na ukosefu tena ya maji. Sasa sisi ombi letu ni tuweze kupata maji kwa urahisi juu tunakuwa na kazi ngumu. Hatuwezi kosa maji ya kunywa, alafu tena hii maji yetu inakuwa chafu. Ukiangalia saa hii mvua ikinyesha inabeba takataka kutoka huko juu inaleta huku baharini. Kuangalia hata hii environment hapa ni chafu mno. Na hii maji ndio watu wanatumia, wanachemsha, wanatumia kupika, juu maji ya kunywa hakuna.
So what I can assure the members of the public is that we had that hiccup which we are addressing fully, and with the help of the county government we have set aside and paid some monies to Kenya Power, and we hope that by close of business today or maybe tomorrow, if it extends, then we should be back on our main grid, that is KPLC, and we will distribute and give Homa Bay residents water as we did in the past.
With that, we go for a short breather. When we come back, more news.
Kila kiongozi ana hadithi yake ya kipekee.
Wazazi wangu walikuwa bit strict kwa sababu mamangu mwenyewe, mimi kutoka kuzaliwa sijailala nje.
The white small one, huyo ana sniff gunpowder na risasi na bomb. Alafu huyo mwingine ni Ridgeback ana sniff simba.
Even the employees knows that, so when in the boardroom is the chairman, the CEO, and the rest of.
At what point are you a wife?
The minute you get to that inside that door, you become now the wife.
Na kila maamuzi wanayoyafanya hufichua mengi kuhusu utu wao na uongozi wao.
We see God blessing us, and we now realize the power of giving also has to be rewarded back.
Kupitia kipindi Mfahamu Kiongozi, tunakuletea mahojiano ya kusisimua na uchambuzi wa kina kuhusu viongozi wetu.
Pick your core business as the bigger stones. Put them in your diary.
Welcome back. Let's take a look at what else is happening across the country. The Ministry of Interior strengthens capacity of county commissioners in implementing climate change interventions in the country. The event focused on spearheading tree planting activities and strengthening the capacity of county commissioners to address the effects of climate-induced extreme weather across the country. County commissioners received training on tree planting activities as part of the initiative. This effort aims to mitigate the impacts of climate change, which have led to extreme weather conditions nationwide. The initiative also aligns with the goal of achieving 10% forest cover in the country.
The program is an internal mobilization strategy for the effective involvement of all national government administrative officers, providing strategic preparedness and a coordination mechanism to support the Ministry of Environment, Climate Change and Forestry.
We are also advocating that as we report, to be able to monitor our performance, we will be very keen in how we are going to report the targets. We have an app, the Jazamiti app, which I know most of you have been appraised about. It is basically a mobile phone app that will help us to give real-time reporting of our efforts.
The training curriculum co-created with the Kenya School of Government will also empower national government administrative officers with monitoring and reporting mechanism for climate change interventions within your jurisdiction.
All right, let's take a look at once again what's happening in Atlanta, Georgia. I hear the President, William Samoei Ruto, is addressing the congregation. Let's take a look.
Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for making it possible for me to address this esteemed gathering, to share my reflections on the inspirational history, present impact, and future possibilities of the Kenya-US partnership in the most important aspect of our time, education. This partnership is one of the most successful achievements in the history of our relations. It begins with the ambitious people-to-people project, which we have come to know simply as the Mboya Airlift or the Kennedy Airlift, a visionary scholarship program initiated by two iconic leaders, T.J. Mboya, a Kenyan freedom fighter and architect of our post-independence development agenda, and J.F. Kennedy, a global symbol of American soft power as a force for universal good, and of course, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Notable figures such as Harry Belafonte, Jackie Robinson, and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. supported this initiative. Through it, hundreds of young men and women were able to pursue higher education in universities in the US and Canada between 1959 and 1963. Airlift alumni have made substantial contributions to Kenya's development, leveraging their education, skills, and experience to provide leadership across various sectors and supporting the implementation of policies which promote job creation, economic empowerment, and growth in our continent. Beyond their personal achievements, these alumni were exemplary public servants who made a strong civil service, which remains a powerful engine of progress and anchor of our stability as a nation. They have stood as enduring models for generations of Kenyans in the pursuit of a more prosperous, resilient, and equitable Kenya. Among them are Kenya's iconic intellectual, veteran conservationist, and champion of social justice. One of them, Professor Wangari Maathai, who won the Nobel Prize for Peace in 2004. It also includes the world-renowned and now American citizen neurosurgeon, James Nabwangu, and of course, Barack Obama Sr. Since then, Kenya has made major strides in its development agenda, emerging as a vibrant democracy, a competitive economy, and a cohesive, inclusive society, looking forward to the future with great confidence and actively engaged in the pursuit of prosperity. I am honored to discuss the opportunity that we have to build upon the enduring legacy of the Kenya-US Educational Partnership by expanding it to the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics component of our higher education, as has been said here earlier. Kenya and the US are bound by a shared culture of innovation. This is why our Silicon Savannah is globally recognized as a hotbed of innovative breakthroughs and a radical digital solution in our sectors. M-Pesa, for example, the revolutionary mobile money technology, heralded Kenya's entry into fintech and the financial technology space. We therefore have a common foundation to empower our youthful population with skills in STEM, with particular emphasis on developing a robust capacity to engage with the global digital technology sector on a much and such advanced and emerging technologies as artificial intelligence, robotics, and data science. Let me say this. Tom Mboya, who was the architect of the airlift that gave thousands of Kenyans an opportunity to study in premier universities in this country. Today, in his honor, we have a public university in his name, Tom Mboya University in Homa Bay County. And I have had the privilege to travel with the governor of Homa Bay. She's in our midst. She must be a very proud lady. By following in the footsteps of the historic airlift, we shall empower a new generation of disruptive thinkers, ambitious visionaries, and innovative problem solvers, and thus define a brighter, knowledge-driven future where progress transcends borders, transforms lives, and delivers prosperity. We already have a positive record of progressive and highly impactful collaborative efforts between universities in Kenya and the US. One shining example is the transformative academic model providing access to healthcare, commonly known as AMPATH, which brings together more university, more teaching and referral hospital, and the AMPATH consortium of global universities led by Indiana University and the government of Kenya. This collaboration has made our healthcare landscape more responsive, effective, and inclusive. And as you heard, 24 million people in Kenya are beneficiaries of this collaboration because of improved healthcare outcomes. Before us, therefore, is an undeniable opportunity to enhance our partnership and to build on the achievements and promise of AMPATH and deliver transformative insights and solutions beyond healthcare. Other critical challenges, both local and global, include financial inclusion, agricultural productivity, water management, clean energy, and of course, climate action. In an increasingly technology-driven world, STEM is the bedrock of innovation and progress, and a workforce skilled in STEM is essential for economies which aspire to become progressive and also to become sustainable. I am delighted that today, inspired by the initial Mboya Kennedy airlift and determined to foster future skills, Kenyan universities and their counterparts will sign a framework agreement to enhance student and faculty exchange, joint research and innovation, aiming to bolster capabilities for a digital future. Kenya stands ready to maintain its vanguard role, furthering our ambition to accelerate the Silicon Savannah. I am confident that this program will also support global security, ensuring the diversification of critical goods and services. And speaking about artificial intelligence, you may wonder what is the space of artificial intelligence in Kenya. I keep saying this story because it is true. I went to one technical training college 400 kilometers away from Nairobi in some remote part of Kenya and met this young man, Brian. And because of technology, because we have deployed internet and fiber optic connectivity around the country, Brian spoke to me and told me, Mr. President, I'm a student, but I take out 2 hours of my time to work online. And so I asked him, so what do you do online? Brian told me he works for an artificial intelligence company in Germany. Just contextualize that. Brian has never been to the capital city in Nairobi. He doesn't have a passport. He hasn't been beyond his village. But look at the power of technology. He works on one of the most complicated areas, artificial intelligence. We are yet, even as a government, to have clarity in policy around artificial intelligence. But look, Brian is already working in that space, and he knows more than many policymakers about artificial intelligence. That is the power of the collaboration we are asking to sign into this morning. I also strongly propose a collaborative framework that fosters partnerships between American experts, universities and colleges, and Kenyan technical and vocational education and training institutions. Such a partnership would apply jointly generated insights to develop curricula closely aligned with industry requirements, equipping young people with essential skills in ICT, green technologies, renewable energy installation, and sustainable construction practices, enabling them to thrive in a sustainable future. An enhanced curriculum for joint studies and linkages in education, training, and skills development, focusing on high-growth sectors such as ICT, data science, and manufacturing is essential for our two countries. And just to contextualize this, among the agreements that we will be signing day after tomorrow is the development of a data center in Kenya using American technology with Microsoft and tapping into renewable energy from Kenya. And therefore, the practitioners are ahead of the policymakers. In my proposal, I am concerned about the persistent underrepresentation of women in STEM, posing a grave challenge to inclusive development in other sectors. Despite evident progress, Kenya faces a significant gender gap in STEM at all levels, from education to the workforce. Our partnership must therefore be intentional about promoting women's participation in STEM. The STEM mentorship program, implemented by UNESCO in collaboration with the government of Kenya and benefiting 2,000 young women, serves as a model that underscores the power of partnership. And I hope the partnership we will be signing today will borrow from what we are doing with UNESCO. We are determined to leverage the Kenya-US partnership to empower and inspire greater female participation and leadership in STEM. In my midst, just to demonstrate, I have come with many women in my leadership, in my administration. And in our, I want to ask the women governors who are here, the women governors who are here, those three ladies are some of our foremost great leaders in Kenya, demonstrating the power of women leadership. Thank you very much. Let us therefore stand together in a common endeavor to build a bridge that will lead present and future generations to prosperity. Our commitment to empowering a new generation of leaders with the necessary competencies will ensure a bright future for both the US and Kenya. Additionally, through faculty and student exchanges, we stand to benefit immensely from deeper cross-cultural knowledge sharing, mutual understanding, and of course, solidarity among people. In essence, what we are doing today is laying a firm foundation for our shared values to make a significant contribution to building a freer, more democratic, secure, prosperous, and united world. I thank you.
That is the president speaking in Atlanta, Georgia. Of course, he says that by